chronological historians. It's great to see. Wait, I can't see anything. What? Can you help me? Why can't I see anything? Oh, these glasses? Silly me. Now I can see you. My name is Mrs. White, and I teach at Westover Hills Elementary, and I'm going to be your history teacher today. It's so good to be with you today. How are you doing? How are you feeling today? Oh, you're happy? Me too. I'm so excited to get to learn with you today. What else? You're sad? I'm sad too. I wish that I was at my school with my students. I really miss them. And I know you miss your friends and your teacher too. What else? You're excited? Oh, me too. I can't wait to learn about timelines with you today. I'm so excited. Let's get started. All right, so we are ready to do our history lesson today. What do you need today to be part of our lesson? Well, you're going to need a notebook or paper. It doesn't have to be a notebook, but if you have one, you should get one. You're also going to need a pen, a pencil, a crayon, or a marker. It's your choice, whatever is the easiest for you to write with. So go ahead and get all of those things. If you need more time, you can pause the video and come back. Let's get started. Today, we're going to learn about timelines. What is a timeline? We see a timeline here, but what is it? A timeline tells us about historical events or people. And it puts the important things in a person's life or that event in order from earliest to latest. Did you know there's a word for that? To put something in order from earliest to latest? Well, that word is pretty long, and people told me, Mrs. White, there's no way kindergartners, first graders, and second graders can get that big word. What do you think about that? Me too. I said Richmond has the smartest, best kindergartners, first graders, and second graders in the whole world, and they can get this word. But it is a long word, so I'm gonna stretch. I'm gonna put my sweatband on so I can, I might be sweating reading this word or learning this word. So here we go. Are you ready? Okay. The word of the day is chronological. Oh, let me say that again. That is a big word. Chronological. Chronological. Mrs. White, what does chronological mean? Well, it means that we put things in order of when they happen. Sometimes we can put things in order from biggest to smallest, or we can put things in order of color, but in this case, we're talking about time, when something happened. So I want you to get your pen or your pencil or whatever you have, and we are going to write this word down. If you can't write all of these letters, that's okay. You can repeat the word at the letter after I do that. So I'm going to open up the whiteboard here so we can spell this word together. Here we go. Are you ready? All right, it's a big word, but I know you can do it. Let's get started with our first letter, C. Excellent. H. R. O. You are working so hard. N. Cron. Another O. Whew, I'll give you a halfway break. Stretch, work your wrists. We are almost there. You're doing such a great job. Prana. What is that letter? L. Chronola. Another O. G. I. C. Last two letters, I know you can do it. You're working so hard and doing such a good job. A. L. Whoa, let me give you a round of applause. Excellent job. You worked so hard spelling that letter. Spelling that word. You worked on all of those letters. That was excellent. I'm going to take my workout gear off since we got all our work done, and let's talk more about the word chronological. When we learn a word, it's good to be able to use it. So we're going to play a game and see, do you know what chronological means? Putting things in order of when they happen. So the first thing that happened has to happen before the second thing that happened. So let's get to a game. Are you ready to play? All right, here we go. You tell me if these things are in chronological order, and we see our word of the day in orange. Look for it in orange for the rest of the lesson. You tell me if these things are in chronological order. You answer yes or no. Did the first event happen before the second event? If so, say yes. But if the first event happened after the second event, then that's not in chronological order, and you say no. All right, here we go. The first event is your first day of school. The second event is your first birthday. Did your first day of school come before your first birthday? No, that's silly. You had your first birthday before you went to school. Those things are not in chronological order. The day you were born and the day you took your first steps. Did you take your first steps after you were born? Yes, you did. These things are in chronological order. Let's do the next one. Your first day of kindergarten, your first day of pre-K or preschool. Did you have your first day of pre-K after your first day of kindergarten? No, these things are not in chronological order. Did you have your second birthday before today? Yes, those things are in chronological order. Good job. So what does chronological order have to do with timelines, Mrs. White? Why did we learn that big fancy word and play a game with chronological order if we're learning about timelines? Well, timelines put important events in order of when they happen, or in chronological order. Let's take a closer look at some of these timelines here. What can timelines look like? What do they look like? They usually go from left to right or horizontally, and they list the events chronologically to show time passing. So they go from left to right to show time passing. Let's look at an example of a timeline of Rosa Parks' life. Do you know who Rosa Parks is? Some of you said, yeah, I've learned about Rosa Parks in school before. She was the woman who refused to get off out of the white section of the bus and started the Montgomery bus boycott. Some of you said no. Well, guess what? If you didn't know about Rosa Parks, this timeline can help you. So we're starting at left and moving right. The first event in her life is she was born on February 14th, 1913. And all of these boxes show important events in her life until the end when she passed away in 2005 at the age of 92. We're not going to go through all of these events, but if you'd like to read more about them, then go ahead and pause this lesson here, your video, and read about all of these important events in her life. But what I really want you to learn is that it's listing important events in her life going from left to right, following the arrow. That's what one way a timeline can look. Let's look at another way. They can also go up and down vertically. Usually it goes chronologically from top to bottom most of the time. And I'm going to move my face so we can look more at this. Now, this is not a person. The civil rights movement is an event, a historical event. So in this case, it starts in 1820 when the slave trade started in Africa. And then it lists the important events. 1861, it lists the Civil War starting. 1863, the Emancipation Proclamation, and those are all big words. And later on, you might learn more about the Civil Rights Movement, but I wanted to show you this timeline to show you that we can list events from earliest at the top to latest at the bottom. Why do we use timelines? Mrs. White showed me what timelines can look like. I learned the word chronological, but why do I need to learn about timelines? What does this have to do with my life? Well, timelines are tools that help us understand a person or historical events. If you're writing a report later on in your life, or you just want to learn more about a person or a historical event, a timeline can be a great way to help you do that. So Miss White, you said a tool? Like a hammer? That kind of tool? What do you think? No, I'm not talking about a tool like a hammer. I'm talking more about a tool like a clock. A clock is a tool that helps us tell time. Or a graph. A graph can help us learn about data that was collected. Or a Venn diagram can help us compare and contrast what is the same and what is different. I mean a kind of learning tool. So a timeline is a tool that helps us understand a person or historical events. What kind of things go on a timeline? How do we make the decision of what goes on a timeline? Well, important events. Not everything about Rosa Parks' life was on that timeline. It had to be important events or things that match with the theme or the topic. So here are some examples of what do you mean by theme or topic, Mrs. White? This is what I mean. It could be a timeline of your life, or it could be a timeline about someone else's life, like Rosa Parks. Or it could be a timeline about the history of Virginia Indians. And we learned in our last two videos, Mr. Is and Miss Barker were talking about Virginia Indians. And maybe you wanted to learn more about that. So you could look up a timeline of Virginia Indians if you wanted to learn more about that. So let's play another game. If I want to make a timeline about my life, what important events should I include? Because I can't include everything. So you tell me yes or no. This should be an event on your timeline. Are you ready? Good, let's go. The day I was born. Is that a very important event in my life? Yes, it is. That should go on my timeline, right? What about when I went to Target to buy some new shoes? No, that wasn't an important event. That was just a regular day. Well, it used to be a regular day. My very first day of school, do you think that's really important and should be on my timeline? Yes, me too. That is such a big day in a person's life. What about when I played soccer with my friend the other day, which I didn't because I'm practicing social distancing? No, that was just a regular day. That doesn't need to be an important event on my timeline. The day I got my first report card. This one's tricky. Maybe, was it an important day in your life? Or was it just a regular day? Well, you have to make that decision yourself. Was it an important event like the day you were born or your first day of school? Maybe, maybe not. When I FaceTimed my grandma yesterday, is that an important event? No, that's not really an important event. I might have liked it. It might have been fun, but it's not an important event in my life. So now it's time for an activity. So I want you to get your notebook and your pencil ready. Are you ready? If you're not, you can pause the video and come back. Let's get started. I want you to write down the day you were born or your birthday. Ask somebody at your house what year it was if you don't know. It's important that you know the year. If you haven't written it down yet, that's okay. Pause the video and come back in a second. Let's get to the next part. Now, after I read these directions, I want you to pause the video and take about 10 or 15 minutes to write down 5 important events that happened in your life since the day you were born. You could also continue the video and remember that that's what I want you to do and do it when it's over. It's your choice. So you can go ahead and pause the video now to write down 5 important events in your life since the day you were born. All right, I'm glad you're back. I wanted to show you an example of my timeline. So here is my timeline here, Mrs. White's timeline, and we always want our timeline to have a title. So my timeline starts over here on February 21st, 1990, and here's the little birth card that I had that the doctors made for me when I was a baby. The second event I included on my timeline was my first birthday. That's a very important day in someone's life. And notice how these dots are very close together on the timeline. The next important event in my life was my first day of kindergarten in September of 1995. I went to school at Tuckahoe Elementary. Then a lot of years passed. All of my schools. So there's a big gap here, but you don't have to include a gap in your timeline if that doesn't make sense to you. In June 2008, I graduated high school. Then in 2013, here's a picture of me graduating from college. Then very shortly after that was my first day as a teacher. And then a few years later, in October 29th of 2016 was my wedding day. And here I am in my wedding dress with my husband and my bridal party. So we can see that that was an example of a timeline that you can make. And that brings me to your very important mission for Thursday. And you can always come back to this video to make sure that you know what it means. Let me try to get this into full screen. All right, it's not working, but that's okay. Sometimes technology is hard. All right, so what I want you to do on Thursday is I want you to make a timeline. You saw my timeline that I just showed you in the last slide. You are going to get to make a timeline. So your materials for what you're going to need on Thursday will depend on which way you decide to make your timeline. You can make a picture timeline with paper and glue and pictures that you have around the house and markers and decorate it. So you could use all of these things, papers, markers, crayons, pencils, pictures of you in your life. If you don't have any pictures and you want to make a paper version, that's okay. Draw a picture of the event. Or you can use a computer. This website here is a website that can help you make one online. Or with your parents' help, You can Google a different way to make a timeline. It's up to you. But I would love to see all of the important events in your life. And you can use those 5 important events plus your birthday. So those are 6 things that you can have on your timeline, but you can include as many things as you want. What's important to your life? Well, it's been a wonderful, wonderful time with you today, learning about timelines. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye.